Hello, and welcome to Vaint Stories, where we explore the lost world of prehistoric life. The fossil record is full of strange anomalies, creatures that seem to ignore the laws of biology, geology, and reason. For decades, paleontologists have encountered specimens that defied every known category of life. Enormous spires that looked like trees but weren't, lizards that predated their own evolution, and ancient organisms without limbs or teeth that refused to fit onto the tree of life. For a long time, these specimens were filed away as unsolvable biological riddles. But modern technology, from high-resolution 3D micro-CT scanning to chemical isotope mapping, is finally unraveling the truth. Today, we examine 5 of the most perplexing evolutionary mysteries in history and how modern science finally cracked them. The towering anomaly, prototaxites. For 100 million years ago, during the Silurian period, land plants were barely a few inches tall. Yet, dominating these primitive landscapes were towering, trunk-like structures reaching up to 28 feet in height and 3 feet in width. When fossilized fragments were first discovered in 1859, scientists classified the organism, named prototaxites, as a primitive conifer tree. But subsequent anatomical studies revealed something baffling. Prototaxites had no vascular tissue, no leaves, and no rings characteristic of wood. It was neither a tree nor an algae. The mystery stood for nearly a century until organic geochemists analyzed the carbon isotope composition within the fossils. Plants absorb carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, maintaining a consistent isotopic ratio. Prototaxites, however, displayed wildly varying carbon ratios depending on where individual specimens grew. This confirmed that it was consuming organic matter from the soil rather than photosynthesizing. Prototaxites was not a plant at all, but a giant, spire-like fungus, the largest terrestrial organism of its era, dominating the landscape millions of years before trees ever evolved. The reptilian timeline paradox, cryptovaranoids. In the late 20th century, a tiny fossil specimen collected from a quarry in Bristol, England, sat quietly in a museum drawer. It was assumed to be a modern lizard skull embedded in late Triassic rock, an impossible timeline overlap, as modern squamates were not thought to have emerged until tens of millions of years later. For years, the specimen was labeled an error or an intrusive fossil. However, recent CT scanning allowed researchers to look inside the uncleaned rock without destroying the fragile specimen. The scans revealed details hidden beneath the surface: teeth fused directly to the jawbones, a specialized palate structure, and braincase features unique to squamates. Named Cryptovaranoids microlanius, this tiny creature was proven to be a true modern lizard relative dating back 202 million years. The discovery solved a long-standing molecular mystery. Genetic models had long predicted that lizards evolved much earlier than the fossil record showed. Cryptovaranoids provided the missing physical evidence, pushing back the origin of modern squamates by 34 million years in a single scan. The 80-million-year braincase, Paleospondylus. Discovered in Scotland in 1890, Paleospondylus gunni is a tiny, eel-like organism barely 2 centimeters long. Dating back 390 million years, this creature possessed a complex skeleton, yet lacked fins, teeth, or clear jaw elements. For over 130 years, researchers debated its place on the evolutionary tree, suggesting it was anything from a primitive lamprey to an embryonic lungfish. The primary obstacle was its miniature size and the fact that extraction damaged the delicate cartilage. The mystery was finally resolved using synchrotron radiation X-ray microtomography at Japan's Riken Research Institute. Scientists constructed an ultra-high-resolution 3D digital model of the creature's tiny brancase. The internal structure of the inner ear and braincase revealed features found exclusively in jawed vertebrates. More specifically, the data placed Paleospondylus right at the transition point where lobe-finned fish began evolving into 4-limbed tetrapods. A century-old riddle was solved, filling a critical gap in our own evolutionary lineage. The armored impossibility, Spicamellis afer. In 2021, Paleontologists working in the Middle Atlas Mountains of Morocco unearthed a fossilized rib fragment dating back 165 million years to the Middle Jurassic. The bone belonged to an early ankylosaur, an armored dinosaur, and was named Spicamelus afer. But the specimen contained an anatomical structure never before seen in any vertebrate, living or extinct. In all known armored dinosaurs, protective spikes and osteoderms develop within the skin tissue, sitting above the skeleton. Spicamelus, however, had large, conical spikes fused directly to the outer surface of its ribs. This arrangement seemed biomechanically impossible, as fused spikes would restrict muscle movement and transfer severe blunt force directly into the ribcage during an attack. Researchers re-examined the bone matrix using histology to check for pathology or disease. The bone tissue was perfectly healthy. Spicamelus represented an early, experimental branch of armored dinosaur evolution that attempted a radical defensive strategy, fusing armor directly to the skeleton before the safer, skin-bound osteoderm system became the evolutionary standard. Lessons from prehistoric vomit, Bakaribu, and regurgitolites. Sometimes, breakthrough evolutionary discoveries come from the unlikeliest sources. For years, scientists struggled to understand the microecosystems of ancient floodplains, where small vertebrates rarely preserved as complete skeletons. The answer came from analyzing bromelites, fossilized digestive contents, specifically regurgitolites, or fossilized vomit. In one remarkable specimen, researchers analyzed a dense mass containing acid-etched bone fragments. CT scans revealed the partially digested remains of a small, previously unknown vertebrate named Bakaribu waridza. Because a predator consumed and rapidly regurgitated the animal into low-oxygen sediment, the stomach acids preserved fine anatomical details that normal decomposition would have destroyed in hours. By analyzing the specific chemical wear patterns on the bones, scientists not only identified a new species that filled a missing ecological niche, but also documented predator-prey dynamics with precision that traditional skeletal fossils could never provide. From giant land-dwelling fungi to armored dinosaurs with bone-fused spikes, these breakthroughs prove that the fossil record is not static. Mysteries that stumped naturalists for over a century are now yielding answers, not always from new digs, but through new eyes and advanced technology applied to old specimens. Every solved mystery recalibrates our understanding of life's adaptability, demonstrating that evolution experiments in ways far more bizarre than we ever imagined. Which of these 5 discoveries surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive into prehistoric science, hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next video.